There's no shortcuts to anything we do in business, and digital marketing is really no exception. You can reach a whole lot of people a lot faster, for sure. But when we skip these first parts, like, who is your audience?
Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a 7-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This is your host, Joshua Gillow, and I have Eric Sprague and Katie Harris back on here. They wrote the book, The Road to 7 Figures, and we've been discussing that over the last few weeks. And today, our goal is to jump much deeper into Meta, because Meta is this kind of crazy universe where you can spend a lot of money and get nothing or a ton of crappy leads, and we want to demystify some of that. So we're going to dive deep into and figure out how to stop wasting money in Meta and learn a secret that's going to help you better invest in Meta. If you guys didn't get a chance to hear it, go back to last week's episode. We talked about how to stop wasting money and transform your marketing with these some game-changing strategies around Google and the social media and also into the website. But this week, we're going to dive much deeper into Meta. So guys, welcome back.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. I love all the nuggets that you're dropping on us from your years and years of experience in this world. And, you know, so many of us in business are just trying to figure out how to get good quality leads in the front door and how to build our business and scale and all that stuff. And we keep seeing everybody else around us dumping tons of money into Facebook. And we're like, okay, is this the right thing for us to do? And so today, my takeaways, what I want listeners to get today is, you know, when should you spend money on Facebook ads? Should you do like live shoots from your job sites? Does it really help you out at all? In Meta, you know, like how long does it take to get results from that? I know there's a lot of variables with this, but if we could set some expectations, hopefully the listeners out there can know how to be more purposeful in their investing in Meta and to see if it's a gigantic waste of money or whether it's a gigantic asset to their growth. So I'd love to talk to you about that.
All right. Happens to be one of my favorite topics, so thank you very much. Meta is interesting, right? It is a meta universe for a reason because you just can get in there and navigate around. One of the things that people always say is anybody even on Facebook anymore? Should I even be on Facebook, right? Should I be on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok? Like, where's LinkedIn? Where should I be? And so I think to even start off the conversation, that's part of it, right? It's like, where are your clients? That's where you should be. So you don't have to do everything on social, but you do need to be where your clients are. So understanding like who is my audience and getting pretty clear on that is important. But we know that Facebook still converts better than any of the other social media platforms out there. There are still, it's where the bulk of people are at, and it works. There's different ways to use it, though. Like you have your organic, right? This is where you're building a brand and getting really consistent and making sure people know you and like you and trust you. And then you can go into groups. Like, how are you building your community in groups? Is that something that makes sense for your service or not? Eric has had some good success building a group, right? In his thing where people can come in there and get some more valuable information there. What are you doing with your ads? That's always a big question. How much should I spend? Am I getting the right audience? Are they the right kind of leads? You are most likely gonna sort through more leads in Meta, get more crap leads, than you are on Google. Because we're totally disrupting somebody when we show something to them. We don't know where they're at in their sales journey, if this is something they need, whatever. We're being very disruptive. It's a very disruptive form of marketing to jump in there. So you're gonna have to know you're gonna sort through more junk than you would in some of the other lead sources. Then live, I mean, I would really like to dive into live for a minute because I'm a fan of live video for service companies. So.
Okay, awesome. So I want to follow up before we get into the live side of things with a question that I hear all the time is, why do Facebook ad guys suck? Like, I don't mean suck just like that they're idiots, but they suck the money right out of your account and they don't like, hey, I told you to give you 100 leads this month. I gave you 100 leads. Yeah, but none of them could afford what I had and none of them wanted what I had, but I got a phone to ring. So how do you guys approach this differently that you're not just siphoning money out of their pocket, but actually bringing value?
Really good question. Number one, I think we're too quick to get started on ads. Like, hey, I want to run an ad for landscaping services. Great. So Facebook guys, we'll say the Facebook guys, go make ads for your landscaping company, right? And they might say, oh, do you have a special you want to run with that? Yeah, I want to do this special. Great. And then they go run it. Well, we've missed the whole point, right? We've missed the whole point. Tell me about your audience. What are the questions they typically ask you? What are their pain points? Who is your ideal client, right? Where do they hang out? Like, all of this stuff, we get so quick to jump into ad campaigns that we don't take the time to really build the campaign. And that is number one. What is the goal of this campaign? We talked about that last week. Like, you have to know, what is the goal? Do I want people to comment? Do I want people to fill out a form? Do I want people to message me? Like, you've got to know what the goal of that is. And then you got to say, okay, what are we going to do? Is our audience big enough? Have we got our targeting set right? So you can go in with Facebook ads in Meta and you can do some pretty great targeting to people. So you can fine tune that targeting. But I think oftentimes, to answer your question, the biggest problem is we just start running ads blind and we don't spend enough time to know who's the audience, where do they hang out, what does your ideal client look like, right? What are your highest margin services that you offer? Are we being specific enough in the ad, right? Is it for one thing and not something generic? And if you can really get dialed in on the same page with your agency or whoever you're working with in your office to do that, you have much higher results. Like, your results become much better because you're more identified. And then you let it roll, right? But honestly, if you're not seeing pretty good results in the first 60 days, if you're not starting to get some traction, like, something needs to change, right? You've got to go in like offer's not right or targeting's not right or budget's not right. And so you don't want to just set things and let it run forever without good results. The good thing about social is you can pivot pretty quickly. So if something, you don't want to pivot every day, right? Because the algorithm needs time and we've got to get some consistency and things like that have to be true. But also, like, we can pivot pretty fast here. So it shouldn't be a place that we're just continually dumping money without seeing some change in things, because we should be able to test stuff and get some better answers quicker.
No, I love that. And it's so true. And, I think about, and we mentioned it last week, you mentioned video, right? Video being a very, very powerful way to connect with your audience and for them to kind of get to know you before they ever decide to spend $1 with you. So YouTube is a great place for that. And shooting video on job sites and even on finished projects, all that kind of stuff, testimonials, those things are very important. But
you might not, that brings up a good point, right? You might not want to put your advertising dollars into Meta. You might want to put your advertising dollars into YouTube.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So you can point that money somewhere else. If you're trying to get the most value out of that money that it can provide, maybe Meta is not the place, maybe it is. But when you work on creating videos, when you work on creating blogs, you're creating evergreen content, which means content that is there for technically forever, versus the stuff if you go on to Facebook and you're doing Facebook ads, as soon as you stop paying for that campaign, it disappears. So, I'm a big fan of multi-using our content, right? If we're going to go create a video, it should be embedded in a blog on your website. It should go up on your Google business profile. It should be on your social platforms, right? And then it should be on YouTube. Like, we should be multi-using our content across multiple platforms, especially that evergreen stuff. Absolutely. And when you think about it, so again, depending on what you're trying to achieve, maybe Facebook is the place if it's very seasonal and you want to get out. But to your point, and what I love about what you said earlier is about getting to know who you're talking to. I feel like in our industry, people see a problem. I don't have enough leads being the problem. They then take I say they put on the blindfold in marketing and they say, okay, we've got ourselves a bow and arrow in our hands. We're going to put a blindfold on, be spun around 4 times and shoot an arrow just so we feel like we're doing something. And the chance of hitting a target is 0.000, right? The chance of, so if you don't know who you're speaking to, how can you possibly speak to them? You don't know their language. You don't know what they do. You don't know what they need to hear, what their pain points are, to your point. If we don't do that work first, just like we talked about a couple of weeks ago with systems, if we don't do the work first, we can never actually enjoy the fruits of that work. So slowing it down, doing an avatar, deep dive into your perfect client avatar, figure out exactly who it is, what they do, what they like and don't like, what they're looking for, what their pain points are. Now you can finally take that blindfold up a little bit and peek out underneath and see the target you're shooting at, and then learn through A/B testing, right? So that's when it comes to Facebook, it's not a solution to get the phone to ring. It takes a little bit of work first so that you can be effective with your strategy you're putting out there.
I think, if you guys don't mind me breaking in for a sec, I think as a local service business, the ads are like the frosting on the cake, but they're not the cake. So the cake is me consistently in the free, let's use Facebook, right? You use that as an example. Like, to me, I built my whole carpet cleaning business on Sunday in 8.5 by 11 inserts in the Sunday newspaper, right? That's gone. Right? We all know that's gone. Facebook, in a way, is kind of the new newspaper for many, many people, right? And I want to get super involved. Like, there's all these groups. There's a group, a mom's group, and this group, and that group. You should be there, or you should be there, like, adding value to that, all of these communities in the avatar that we know that these are probably homeowners. They're probably between 35 and 65, right? I'm laying all this groundwork. I'm building the actual cake part. So I'm getting recognized. I'm being seen as part of the community on Facebook because it's still somewhat local. And then all my ads, all my paid, is the frosting on that cake, because they're like, I've already seen this company in my, Bad Moms of Rancho Cucamonga or whatever, right? So, like, to me, it's like the ads aren't very fruitful unless you've done all of your foundational work first. Katie might not agree with that.
No, I do. I 100% agree with you. But people, we want to like quick solution, right? We're like, oh, I'm just gonna go buy some ads on Facebook, and that's gonna bring me leads. Like, there's no shortcuts to anything we do in business, and digital marketing is really no exception. You can expedite things, and you can reach a whole lot of people a lot faster, for sure. But when we skip these first parts, like, hey, what does your brand voice sound like? Who is your audience? What are their main pain points? Where do they hang out? If you skip all that, then it's like you said, Josh, you're just shooting arrows hoping they hit. My background is in journalism, right? And so I used to work for newspapers, and you're just like, it's like throwing spaghetti on the wall. You're like, you hope you hit the right person at the right time. You don't have to do that with digital. Like, you can be out there building something pretty profound, but it's not a silver bullet to just throw an ad up and think that that's going to make your phone ring.
Yeah, exactly. So take us, let's transition over to lives. It sounded like you were excited about lives. So I'd love to hear how lives can help us.
Katie hates doing lives, by the way.
First of all, let me just give a disclaimer. I will give a disclaimer. I always give this disclaimer whenever I say this. Like, 100% do what I say and not what I do, because I am such a chicken with, I suck at lives. I don't know why. I speak at events, I get on podcasts, Eric's laughing at me because he knows how true this is, and I know they work. I see them work, right? But I have issues. So do what I do. Commenting. This is good advice. Just, I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite in it. So, and I'm going to do better. Eric's going to help me do better at this. And I'm going to help. Here's the deal. We've already talked about how Facebook is disruptive, right? Well, it can be disruptive in a very good way. And that's what live does. Every time you go live, your audience gets a notification that's like, hey, Eric Sprague with Road to Seven Figures is live right now. That's awesome. Like, our phone is in our hand all the time. If we had a way to just like tell everybody, hey, don't forget about me, here I am. That's what live does for you, right? It goes out and says that. I have a client who, this is so smart of him. It's so cool. He does Taco Tuesdays He goes live with Taco Tuesdays every Tuesday. He's a restoration client, owns a restoration company. But what he does is every Tuesday, he's going somewhere in town and he's buying tacos. And then he's going somewhere else in town and he's sitting down with somebody and he's having a conversation. So every Tuesday, I know sometime between 11:30 and 1:30, I'm going to get a thing that says Kenyon Martin is live right now, right? I go watch it because I'm like, where's he at? Who's he talking to? What tacos is he eating this week? And he just goes to local businesses that he wants to have partnerships with, or that he's trying to build good alliances with, or that he wants to connect with their audiences, right? He's like, hey, your audience looks like who I would really like to do business with. So he goes and sits down and he says, hey, let me introduce you to my audience. And they sit there and they eat tacos and they talk about whatever they talk about for however long they talk. And it consistently happens every week and it works. Like, you remember him, that's true. For him, he doesn't have to decide what am I going to go live with because it's kind of pre-planned. He has to decide where am I going, who am I going to sit down with. That can be very, very strategic, right? Or else, if he doesn't have anybody to sit down with, he'll be like, hey, Kenyon Martin with Restore Right, I'm going live today because I want to talk to you about the 3 things that caused the most damage in people's homes last week. And he's like, we got a problem. It's starting to get cold outside. You got to unhook your hoses. Now he's just adding value to his audience. He's like, I love you guys, but I don't want to come to your house because your basement floods. So go unhook your hoses. Like, it's super cool, the things that we can do when we're live that people want to hear. So, if you just finished landscaping somebody's yard and they got this awesome water feature, right? Like, do a home feature every week where you're like, hey, I am live. I want to show you my favorite thing we did this week. And you just show them and talk to them and let them hear you and see you. It's so powerful, right? It's super powerful. The other thing I love about going live to somebody's property, for example, is, maybe you're working with a hotel or a city or some very influential person. Like, if you get permission to go live at their place, you're basically telling every other person that might be that avatar as well, hey, I already work here. Like, you can already trust me.
Yep.
Like, the city already hired me. You can hire me too. Whatever. Yep. I think live to me is super underutilized. And I know why. I know why it's underutilized. Like, some of us are big fat chickens. I understand. But it works. It's powerful. And the beautiful thing is then you're done. Go live and you're done. You don't have to edit video. You don't have any more time in it. You're done. And if it sucks, you can delete it. So it doesn't have to.
Exactly. I know I had a lot of head trash around that when I first started doing lives, because it was like, I'm talking to a phone. So it's, when you're having a conversation, you can read, social clues, you can see facial, you can see all body language. Like, it kind of helps you with the conversation. But when you're talking to a device and you're looking out and then all of a sudden there's distractions and thumbs and all this stuff going on, and it's like, it can be a real trip. Right. So what I like to focus on when I'm doing a live is focus on just one person. Just visualize the person that you want to be helping right now. And that's the person you're talking, one person, not 5,000, all that. No, one person. And just say, you know what? I hope this lands on one person's heart today and it helps them. That's it. And you're speaking to them, because if not, you're speaking to a glass box, right? And that could put you in another a better frame mentally in order to be speaking like that to people. But, lives are great ways I love it. I'm glad that you're a big proponent of it, because it does get you out there right away and it pops up to the top, because Facebook wants engagement. It doesn't get better than that.
And honestly, people want to do business with people they like. That's just the truth. People want to do business with people they like. And in the book, we talk a lot about digital marketing, but we talk a lot about like referral marketing too. And Eric and Larry are so good at referral marketing. It all comes down to people want to do business with people they like. And hey, you can't necessarily get to every single person every single day, but your reach gets really, really big when you use tools like Facebook Live.
Well,
yeah. So when it comes to results, how long should it take on Meta to get results? I know you mentioned earlier within 60 days, we should have something happening, or we're doing something wrong, or need to re-strategize. So quickly, how long should we be thinking for Meta as a good rule of thumb?
Honestly, I'm evaluating what's happening on Meta every 30 days to just say, because I can pivot so quickly, right? If nothing is getting traction, because the audience is so big on Meta, if nothing's getting traction, if it's just not coming, if the leads are all wrong, right? Like, you don't need to keep that running for long. You don't need to just keep putting money at that. Like, pivot, try something new, do some testing, get something different. But if you just continually see these are all the wrong leads, then something's wrong with your messaging or something's wrong with your targeting. So you got to dial in the messaging and the targeting, and there's no reason to let something sit out there for too long in that case. Got it. Okay.
It's good to know. So guys, I've appreciated you here over the last couple of weeks here with these different episodes. I appreciate how much value you've poured out. Hopefully the listeners, got a lot from this. I know I certainly do. Every single time I do one of these podcasts, I learn something. That's one of the benefits of, doing this. So tell us a little bit more about the book. I know we've been hinting at it through the last couple of weeks. Tell us about the book, what people can get in that book if they read it, like what's in there, and also where they can find it.
Well, they can find it on Amazon. It's on Amazon, and they can also find it at, well, that's really the only place, isn't it, Katie? Amazon. Gosh, we're like a week away from launching the book publicly.
Got it. Okay. By the time this airs, it'll be available.
Yeah. All you gotta do is reach out to me or Eric, and we will get that book in your hands for sure.
Reach out to, see, this is why I have Katie here for my marketing. But look, the reason that Katie and I wrote the book, you talked about what's in the book, is, look, I think all three of us here, we've had a bunch of successes. We've had a bunch of probably more failure than success. We talked about that early on.
Oh, yeah.
And what we recognize, because I'm coaching a lot of people all day, every day. And I just kept seeing the same mistakes and the same things that they didn't understand, right? These are hardworking, smart people who just were never getting the result that they desired because they didn't have a roadmap to do so. And Katie and I sat down and tried to lay out a roadmap for that hardworking, smart person who just didn't feel like they were getting where they wanted to go, right? We talked about it in the first episode. They start stalling out. They start stalling out when they run out of them, right? Yeah. We're in home services. You're not going to get to $1 million by yourself, probably. I've never heard of anybody doing that, right? So what we try to do is lay out a roadmap for these are the habits, the rituals, the behaviors that you need. These are the skills that you need to learn. And then we start working through, then you have to systematize your business and you have to learn how to hire people. And then obviously you have to get the phone to ring. So then all of Katie's marketing portions, now we're starting to get bigger, and you're going to have to change as a human being to not be the doer and now be the leader. And then you're going to have to grow a team to be able to do this. So the point of the book was to give people that the title is very intentional. It's The Road to Seven Figures, and the book is the map, is what it really is boiled down to be.
I love it.
Katie, I'm sure
that's great.
It's great stuff to act.
I just feel super blessed that Eric let me kind of come along for the ride on his book, because there's a lot of heart and soul that he put into it. And that first chapter, honestly, if all you do is you get that book and you read the first chapter, it will change you as a business owner. He does such a good job of laying out his journey. And I think it's super vulnerable. I think it's very real. I think it's something that makes all the difference, right? So all you do is read the first chapter. That book is going to change your business and put you on a path. But it's fun I've spent the last 12 years working with businesses and kind of having a front row to their success, to their struggles. And it's interesting. We all have the same ones. I don't care what your industry is, but we all have them. And as your business grows, you still have the same challenges. You just have them on a different scale. But if you have this map and you can kind of lay this out and follow it, you're going to get where you want to be.
I love it. Well, guys, thank you for coming on for the last few weeks here and sharing your story, sharing your your gifts and sharing all the information. Listeners out there, go to Amazon and grab a copy, The Road to Seven Figures. I loved it. They sent me a copy early. I had a chance to look through it. Just such good stuff. They barely scratched the surface in these last few weeks of what's in this book. So guys, great job. Thank you for your give back to the industry. And I wish you nothing but the best here as you move forward.
Thank you. Pleasure to be
Gosh,
here.
appreciate you having us on.
Absolutely. All right, listeners, I hope you took lots of notes and have lots of good stuff to take back to your business to start implementing. And we'll be back with you next week with some more value. Thanks.